In this video, we're going to go through how to play your standard A major open chord. Just a little side note before we begin, there are a few different ways that people tend to play this chord. We're going to go with the way that I'm showing you right now, okay, which I like to call the 1, 2, 3 method, because those fingers sit nicely in order, 1, 2, 3. But sometimes finger 1 and 2 get swapped over, so it's like this. All right. And then sometimes people will also play it with a bar like this. But what that means is you have to omit the high E string. It means, because if you play the high E string with the bar all the way down, you get an A major 6 chord, and that's not what we're after. So let's go back to what we had at the start. So in order to play that chord, you want the fretting hand first finger on the 2nd fret of the D string, you want the fretting hand second finger on the 2nd fret of the G string, and you want the fretting hand third finger on the 2nd fret of the B string. And we might refer to that as a doorstep. And then you can strum only 5 strings because you're not going to play the low E. The low E is not included in this chord. So with your pick, you're going to strum only from the A string downwards. Okay. Now, one thing that does tend to happen quite a lot with guitarists is the thumb will creep up and the thumb will be muting the low E. Now, that isn't a huge deal depending on what you sort of want to achieve on the guitar and that sort of thing. I would encourage you to try and get used to the thumb behind the neck, but it's not a huge deal if the thumb is muting the low E, and that's something that you've got comfortable with. And the great thing about playing that way is that when you're actually picking the A chord, you haven't got to be careful about the low E being muted, or not hitting the low E rather, because it's already muted by the thumb on this hand, okay? Just bear in mind that this does, with the thumb, does close your hand position just a little bit and might be a little bit tight, but I wouldn't worry. If you're getting it, then you're getting it, and it's fine.